The New York Islanders get timely goals and great goaltending to beat the Rangers 3-0. We've got our key takeaways from this big win, plus all the latest on the Kieffer Bellows situation, all that and a lot more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Thursday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Gil Martin, so glad you could join us today and be part of the Locked On Islanders family. And we want to thank everyone for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, and that does, of course, include YouTube. We have got a lot to discuss on today's show, but first, if you've got something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, a topic that you'd like us maybe to discuss on a future show, feel free to send us an email. The email address, lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYR VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings. And I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So make sure you join me for instant insight and analysis. And it's always great to interact with Islanders fans during games and really any time. So let's get this started right now. Islanders blank the Rangers 3-0 to win the first of what is unfortunately only 3 battles between these two teams this season. And if you look at the statistics real quick, and you see that the Islanders were outshot 41-29 in this game, you would think, well, the Islanders were thoroughly outplayed. Well, not exactly. Yes, the Islanders were outplayed for most of that scoreless first period. The Rangers were skating better and had a little more of the quality chances. But after that, the Islanders really did settle down. And they really won this game using the same formula that they used in recent years to win. They let up a good number of actual shots on goal, but did not allow rebounds, deflections, multiple chances to score in one possession by the Rangers or one trip into the offensive zone. And Ilya Sorokin was able to see almost every shot that he faced. And he played a very, very strong game on top of that. But the Islanders getting the job done. Defensively, playing a pretty strong fundamental game in spite of allowing all of those shots on goal. The other thing that the Islanders got was that you had goals from 2 players who had yet to score this year and got off the schneid in big fashion. You had Kyle Palmieri scoring twice for the Islanders. I mean, Kyle Palmieri, I've been critical of him at times. His play has not lived up to his paycheck and really what the Islanders are expecting from him most of the time. But boy, am I rooting for this guy. And, 2 goals on 3 shots, went to shoot the puck more often, and he's got to feel 10 pounds lighter after getting the 2 goals in this game. And who got the other goal in between all that? How about Josh Bailey playing in his 999th career NHL game? His 1,000th game hopefully will be this Friday against Carolina. And we'll talk a little bit more about Bales on tomorrow's show. But wow, to get Bailey a goal and to get 2 for Palmieri, That's the kind of thing the Islanders need to do. They need all these players who have struggled to put the puck into the net to keep putting the puck into the net. And that was just a really encouraging sign. You had 2 assist games for J.G. Pageau and Adam Pelech. Pelech making some good plays to get up into the rush and create. And I'll tell you something else. That Bailey goal was unbelievable hand-eye coordination, and it excuse me, it shows that, when you go to the net, good things happen. And Pelech made a good play to set that goal up. He joined the rush and ended up creating the shot that was deflected in by Bales, and Barzal really skated exceptionally well to create time and space, and that's how you get pucks behind Yaroslav Halak or any goalie, and it really paid off. And how about the hits in this game? The Islanders doing a very good job of that. 9 hits in 13 minutes and 42 seconds of ice time for Cal Clutterbuck, and J.G. Pageau, 7 hits and 2 block shots to go along with the 2 assists, and he led all Islanders forwards with 18 minutes and 19 seconds of ice time. Sebastian Aho, I think, played a pretty solid game all the way around, had some rough patches early in the first period, but recovered and played well after that. And I'm going to give some credit as sort of the unsung hero of this game to Scott Mayfield, who was second on the team with almost 23 minutes worth of ice time and just made a lot of little plays defensively that were solid. And how about penalty kill? Casey Cizikas and Cal Clutterbuck were really good, as were Pageau and Parise. And this team still hasn't given up a power play goal. And here we are, 7 games into the season. You say what you want. The Rangers have a lot of dangerous players who can put the puck in the net, especially on the power play, and they just weren't able to get that done. I mean, Zibanejad, Kreider, Kako, Trocheck, these are guys who can put the puck in the net, and they did not do that against this Islanders team. And Adam Fox, one of the better power play quarterbacks in the league. Rangers come up empty with the man advantage, and that was, again, an encouraging sign. So realistically, this is the recipe for success for the New York Islanders, and it was great to see. One of the little complaints I have about this game, some players who didn't get any shots on goal in this one. Pageau did not have a shot. Parise did not have a shot. And Oliver Wahlstrom did not register a shot on goal in this game. And, realistically, if you are the New York Islanders and you are looking at the performance of Oliver Wahlstrom, who was up there on the line with Bailey and Barzal to start this game, here's Wally's chance. He's going to be not just in the top 6, but really on the top line. No shots on goal. And that, to me, was a little bit disappointing. Again, it's one game. Barzy looked good. Bailey looked good. So I'm not saying this line was a washout, but Oliver Wahlstrom has to be a little bit more involved offensively if he wants to keep earning those top 6 minutes and to continue to play with Matthew Barzal. We have got a lot more to discuss on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. We're going to answer some emails from you. We're also going to break down the Islanders' decision to put Kiefer Bellows on waivers earlier on Wednesday afternoon. We'll have all that and a lot more coming up on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for betting football and the start of the new basketball season. You can find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth analysis on every game. And as always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sports wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. It's the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, golf, and of course, hockey. Maybe this win gives you a little bit of confidence. You want to bet on the Islanders against the Hurricanes coming up Friday, or maybe against the Avs on Saturday. Check out the odds at betonline.net. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thanks again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen today. Now make your second listen Game to Game NHL. Every moment, every top performance, every result, Locked On Game to Game covers every contest from across the National Hockey League with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NHL. It's available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. So let's talk about Kiefer Bellows. Big news on Wednesday. Bellows put on waivers as the Islanders attempt to send him down to Bridgeport. Now, remember, Bellows was the Islanders' first-round pick back in 2016. And, at the end of training camp and the preseason, Bellows was playing very well. And he played opening night, did not figure in the scoring, and was a -1 in that game, but has not been in the lineup since then. And look, the Islanders, as far as sending players down to Bridgeport, they don't have a hell of a lot of options without exposing somebody to waivers. And I guess Bellows' lack of production, he has 11 goals in 68 career NHL games. The fact that he can't seem to find a spot in the lineup and his salary being slightly more than $1 million a year, Lou Lamoriello willing to take a gamble that no one's going to claim Bellows and he can go back down to Bridgeport. Got to be disappointing for Bellows, who was looking for full-time duty. And, he's 24 years old. It's time for Kiefer Bellows to start producing and being a full-time player if he's ever going to reach that plateau. Will the gamble pay off, or will the Islanders lose Bellows? If they do, they'll probably take the salary cap relief and move on, because I just don't see where Kiefer Bellows fits into this lineup right now. Should he get more of an opportunity than he's gotten so far this season? Well, I mean, that's debatable, but clearly you want to see more of the young players like Bellows if he can, again, do those things away from the puck that Lane Lambert and before him Barry Trotz and obviously Lou Lamoriello demand of their forwards. And right now, he is not consistently doing that to the satisfaction of the coaching staff. So Islanders hoping for more and better, and we'll see within the next day whether or not anyone claims Bellows. The move, by the way, most likely designed to have Robin Salo back on the active roster. He's about ready to return. And again, the Islanders, no depth at defenseman unless Salo or somebody else is recalled, because they only have 6 on their roster right now. And, they need a little bit more consistency. So Bellows hasn't been down at Bridgeport since 2019, 2020. That year, he played 52 games for what was then known as the Sound Tigers, had 22 goals and 9 assists for 31 points in those 52 contests. That was his best pro season overall, and added 2 goals and 3 points in 8 games with the Isles that year. This is a crossroad for Kieffer Bellows, but it just doesn't look like he's going to get a chance to play consistently for the Islanders. And, this organization favors veteran players. I don't think that's changed a lot under Lane Lambert, but they want to see more from Kiefer Bellows. So, we've got that going right now. Quick little note from Charlie, who emails us frequently. Gillett has started, Bellows on waivers, and Salo back in the lineup. Steps in the right direction. Now let's go out and get Timo Meier. Common sense, this team can win, but a speedy right wing scorer is a must next to Lee and Barzal. So, Charlie, thank you for that. We get an email from Firebird0402. Why do we have to listen to Rangers announcing they can't find someone other than Marv's kid, which is Kenny Albert, game on TNT? Firebird, I agree with you to this extent. I mean, I am a Kenny Albert fan. He's a good guy and a good announcer. Obviously, he does have, he has worked for the Islanders in the past, but he's a Rangers guy, and as was his dad back in the day, Marv. But realistically, to me, and I tweeted this before the game last night, why would you have an Islanders Ranger game on TNT? If ever there was a game that you wanted to see your hometown announcers, Brandon and Butch, Islanders Rangers is it. So a little disappointed in that. And then Jeff out in Minnesota, the game tonight was a pleasure to watch. It was physical, and the Islanders skated smart and played hard. A win against the Rangers is always a reason to celebrate, and Sorokin shutout was awesome. Jeff, thank you for the email. I agree. And I'm going to you sort of reminded me, Jeff, of one other observation that I wanted to touch on when I was talking about the game, but kind of overlooked. Nice decision by Lane Lambert somewhere between the 10 and the midway point of that third period, and maybe when there were like 2 or 3 minutes left, giving extra shifts to the identity line. They were playing solid defense and smart positional hockey, and they were being physical out there. And to give them some extra work down the stretch when you're holding on to a 2 and then later a 3-0 lead against the Rangers, I thought was very, very good use of matchups. We don't see too many line matchups in the regular season, but I like the way that Lane Lambert handled putting Cizikas, Martin, and Clutterbuck out there against some of the Rangers' better scorers, because they did a good job on the forecheck, back-checked exceptionally well, got in the way of passes, and just had a strong overall game. So very pleased to see that, and just with the way that the Islanders handled the situation, a hard-earned win, 3-0, and the 3-game losing streak is over. Just as a little bonus, the Rangers are now on a winless streak, although they did get an overtime loss, a shootout loss within their 4-game winless streak. But boy, it really felt good to see the Islanders play the kind of hockey they are capable of playing and earning 2 points as a result. So good to see. Got to be pleased with the way this team played, and hopefully, more importantly, that this will be something that this team can build on as they move forward, because you know what? They need to build on it, and they need to build on it soon, because if they can't string a few wins together, it's going to be a problem for this team. The schedule isn't getting any easier now with, again, the Hurricane and the Avalanche, 2 really talented teams out there on the schedule in the next 2 games. So we shall see what happens with the next couple of games, but hopefully the Islanders are able to build on what they've done so far and to accomplish, string a few wins together. We have got more to discuss on today's show. We've got a high-scoring winger who had 3 30-goal campaigns with the Islanders in the early to mid-90s as our Islanders' birthday of the day, plus some final thoughts about last night's game. We've got all that and a lot more still to come on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Time now for our Islanders' birthday of the day. And again, Friday, We're a day early, but Friday will be the 56th birthday of former Islanders winger Benoit Hogue. Hogue, originally drafted by the Buffalo Sabres in the second round back in 1985, played his first NHL game in the 87-88 season, and then became a full-time player for the Sabres in 88-89. Came to the Islanders early in the 91-92 season as part of the Pat LaFontaine trade. Scored 30 goals and 75 points in 72 games in 91-92. Then 33 goals and 75 points in 92-93. Added 12 points in 18 playoff games during that wonderful run to the conference finals by the Islanders that year. And then had his best goal scoring season in 93-94 when he potted 36 goals and 69 points for the Isles. Was traded in the 94-95 season late to the Toronto Maple Leafs, later played for the Dallas Stars, Tampa Bay Lightning, the then Phoenix Coyotes, the Boston Bruins, and the Washington Capitals before retiring at the end of the 2001-2002 campaign. Overall in his career, 863 games for Benoit Hogue, 222 goals, 543 points, 877 penalty minutes, 92 games in the postseason, including 22 with the New York Islanders, 17 goals, 33 points, and 124 penalty minutes. Hogue knew how to put the puck in the net and did a good job of it. Really a talented player for the Islanders. We go back and look at one of his better games in an Islanders uniform. October 24th, 1992, at the Nassau Coliseum. The Hartford Whalers are in town, so cue up Brass Bonanza. The Islanders going with Mark Fitzpatrick in goal, while Sean Burke was in between the pipes for the Whalers. And in the first period, the Islanders get on the board first with a shorthanded goal. Claude Loisel off for interference for the Isles, and Benoit Hogue, our Islanders' birthday of the day, beats Sean Burke, his third, the only assist to Pat Flatley at 1935. Isles up 1-0 at the first intermission. The Whalers get the lead back on a pair of goals by Jeff Sanderson. The first one coming at 6:36, and Eric Weinrich and Robert Petrovicki with the assist. And then Tim Kerr sets up the second one at 15:51. Those were the fourth and fifth goals of the year for Sanderson. And all of a sudden, the Isles trail 2-1. But less than 2 minutes after the second Sanderson goal, Pierre Turgeon ties it for the Isles, his sixth. Derek King and Tom Curvers with the assist. At 17:47, we are even at 2 after 2 periods. In the third, Benoit Hogue, our Islanders' birthday of the day, takes control of the game. He gets his fourth from Ray Ferraro at 11:05, and then his fifth for unassisted at 12:24. The Islanders beat the Whalers 4-2 in this game. Only 14 saves for Mark Fitzpatrick. Islanders outshoot the Whalers 26-16. Boy, this was a dead puck era game if ever there was one. But the big story of the game, Benoit Hogue, the hat trick, a +2. He had the shorthanded goal, the game-winning goal, and led the Islanders with 6 shots, 5 for Steve Thomas. That was next on the list. The only career hat trick for Benoit Hogue, and a magic moment it was. So Benoit Hogue, who will turn 56 on Friday, is our Islanders' birthday of the day, and he is one quality hockey player who really gave the Islanders a nice jump offensively and a dangerous scoring winger for all of his 3 full seasons in an Islanders jersey. Tell you, it is always sweet to beat the New York Rangers. And it's a shame that these two teams are only meeting 3 times this year, and that here we are in late October. It's the only time the Rangers are coming to the UBS Arena all season long. It is you know, a shame because it's such a great rivalry. And you have so much intensity in the crowd and all over the place. For the Islanders and Rangers to only meet 3 times, I understand there's more teams in the league. You want everyone to play each other at least twice. I get that. But I remember seasons when the Islanders and the Rangers would play 7 or 8 times a year and then meet in the playoffs. And those were some of the best hockey games I have ever seen, whether it was on TV or live at, the Nassau Coliseum or at Madison Square Garden. It really made for some great hockey. And little funny thing happening during the broadcast, Dennis Potvin going up into the booth promoting Potvin socks. Give credit to Potvin for keeping his sense of humor, and it was a great little segment, and Kenny Albert handled it well. Dennis Potvin promoting the Potvin socks, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a future episode. But humorous moment and nice sense of humor for Denny Potvin to promote Potvin socks. Want to thank you again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen. For your next listen, check out Locked On Sports Today. It has the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. It's available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. That's going to do it for this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. We'll preview the game against Carolina tomorrow, and we'll have a whole lot more as well. So have a great day, everyone. Enjoy the win over the Rangers. Stay safe. And, of course, let's go Islanders.